It's March the 16th, Sunday, and we're doing the first walkthrough since the snowstorm that left snow covering everything for a couple of days. We lost a lot of things you're going to see, but I think you're going to be very pleased at the things we didn't lose and how it's actually looking after some cleanup and a little bit of time. So first of all, the Petrea vine, obviously there's nothing showing alive on it, but the Petrea vine, I believe, has got to have life in it and is alive and is going to start coming back here at some point. I mean, the trunks, these wonderful twisted, gnarled sculpture of vines is still there, and I'm betting it's coming back. Okay, moving on around. This stand of Bordelon bananas we kept cutting down and down and down, and we could not get the life out of them, and we're going to end up pulling those trunks out. But here's the good news. There are approximately 3 times as many new bananas coming up as there were bananas before. So this is going to be a nice little junior mint, but very full stand within, 3 months. It's going to be a nice looking feature. Okay, moving around, these Legularia, these moon pads are amazing. I still think they're aliens. They just came through the snow with no problem whatsoever, and that bloom just got finished. It was bright yellow and blooming like crazy. The giant elephant ear that was coming out of there, the alocasia, is coming back. So, and it's got a good root system and is accustomed to putting up big leaves, so they'll be back in no time. Now check this out. This was totally unexpected. I thought for sure but there are 2 vines planted here. This planted in this pot is a jasmine, which is a true jasmine but hybridized to make it a very large flower. And planted in the soil down there and crawling up this way is a Clematis Liberty, which has been there for 2 years. Both of these have been there, well, the jasmine longer, but the Clematis Liberty for like 2 years, and no sign of a bloom. And I looked up this morning, and guess what? This beautiful big Clematis Liberty bloom is really just starting to come out. It hasn't fully opened yet. Isn't that a beauty? So if we get that jasmine blooming, and look at it, the jasmine just did fine through the snow, and look at it up there, it's getting full already, going over the archway. And by the way, the oleander branch up there is fine. It's putting out new growth all the way to the tips, as the entire oleander tree is doing. It lost all of its leaves, but look at all this new growth already started. That's an amazing tree. So yeah, that's very happy news. And as I said, if that jasmine starts to bloom and the Clematis Liberty, this is going to be just spectacularly beautiful. Okay, we lost a lot of stuff in the little patio. That fern is done. The bananas all done, and we've been cutting them down and down. Some of them are coming up. I mean, they'll all come up eventually. We may have to take out some of these trunks, but we've got some new ones coming up. That was that gorgeous ponytail palm that I put there years ago. It was just so beautiful and flowing, but yeah, we lost that one. But look, these things are fine. The fan palms are the stars of the snow show. I mean, they just shook it off like, wow, that was fun. and they're back more vibrant than ever and raring to go. That gorgeous giant hibiscus that I've been nurturing for years now, it looks like it's done, but we're gonna wait and see if there's any life in there that starts to come out. This thing, the Japanese maple, just coming back out. The color, that rust color, is actually from residual fungus. Remember, we had a massive fungal infection after we did the wall stabilization project. Look at that. This sago palm is just great. It didn't mind the snow at all. So that's something to consider. Once again, Legularia doing great. no problems. They're green and fine. Growth all over this oleander all the way up. The lemon tree, all of this is new growth on the lemon tree, so I think it's going to be a really good flowering season, and there'll probably be some nice lemons in the late fall. Okay, what have we got here? We've got, of course, the aspidistra are fine. They just brush off everything. This is the Rangoon creeper. I don't know. Honestly, I've never seen Rangoon creepers hit like this snow hit these. It's just never happened before. I mean, anyway. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, they have massive root systems under there, and they're pretty much impossible to get rid of. So I'm pretty sure they're going to come right back. This, once again, is a fan palm looking perfectly fine. Now check this out. This area over here is a wonderful little stand. I mean, it looks just green and happy as can be. We did lose a few little things ground level, but you wouldn't know it. And by the way, the Algerian ivy that I planted to go up around this dead palm tree is doing fine. And again, I just have to wind some more up and keep training it up. Legulare is fine. Here's our wonderful banana shrub with it's just covered with blooms. It's never had this many blooms. What I find is that the flowering plants seemed to love the snow. It just invigorated them. So interesting. So that one's full of buds. We lost, unfortunately, everything in that corner. There's that gorgeous Schefflera. It's gone. The Monstera that was there, nope. There was a giant alocasia, which may still come back, planted in the ground down there. We'll see. That great, beautiful old palm with the leaves that flow up like a fountain. I forget the name of that one. But that's done. So that corner's pretty empty. These bananas are, again, we've been cutting this banana down and down, and it's starting to push up. This may push up successfully. But if not, we'll cut it down further. We're not gonna, they'll come back right there. So we don't need to worry about that. This is the shell ginger, unfortunately, this pot. And yeah, it got completely whacked down there, but there is green all over the roots. And so I'm thinking this thing is gonna pop back up. And of course, with such a mature root system, they don't pop up small. They start putting out serious branches. So let's keep fingers crossed. This is nothing in there. I don't know. Oh, that was another long fountain-like palm, and the gardener just put a couple of pots of fill in there. There are a couple of giant purple iris that are already peeking out. I don't know if you can see that. There and there. So they're looking like they're coming back. This Rangoon creeper now is a whole other story. Check it out. It's never happened before. I mean, we've had freezes, and of course I've had the heaters going through the freezes in the past, in the past few years, the whole time. But and this time I shut them off when the snow mass just completely covered the ground. But no, that whole canopy is done, and we've just been waiting to see if anything promising happens before trying to tackle getting it down. Way up there, those are cat's claws. Those are nasty, invasive cat's claws. They're growing apparently out of the parapet under the copper covering of the parapet top on the neighbor's wall. It doesn't appear that they're doing any harm at the moment, and I don't really want to climb up there and get them. We'll watch them. Coming back around here on ground level, again, the fan palms look great, right? The loquat is fine. It's absolutely fine. Just leaves looking great. It already did a leaf fall for the spring, and it's just cranking, and probably be putting out fruit here shortly. And you can see there's an image of the courtyard. I mean, the courtyard looks lovely. It's not the incredibly lush, beautiful, articulated thing that it was, but it's still, you know, it's really y'all did a great job building the cathedral, because, you know, if you hadn't, this place would be pretty bleak, but it's not at all bleak. Okay, so this fan palm, I told you and showed you a photo, the wind had pushed it over. And by the way, we had another windstorm yesterday. It was pretty bad, but this was tied up. See, I actually wired one of the fronds to the loquat tree to keep it stable until I can wire and stake the main trunk there. But I did upright it and piled some more earth around it. So that's going to be fine. There were two of these, what were those? Oh, well, the umbrella tree is gone down to the ground, but I see green coming out of it. So, I mean, eventually that thing's going to come up if it's left there. What are those? Clivia. That's a clivia right there, and obviously there is green coming out of it, so that thing is still alive. This one over here I'm not so sure about. And then going into of course, the stand of these that have been trimmed of their dead leaves, and then those that haven't. And we'll just see what happens with those. Now over here, some pleasant surprises. One of the pleasant surprises of the whole thing has been the liriope. These tufty things, these tufts of green that put out beautiful flowers in the spring. And they did just fine, and they were just covered with snow, and they didn't care. This is one of the clivia over here that was sheltered. Apparently, all I can say, I don't know why this one did so well and the others didn't. That's another giant purple iris behind it that's still alive and will no doubt come back. That is the only monstera that has survived as a living plant. It's obviously very feebled, and I don't know if it's worth keeping there, but it's alive for the moment. Aspidistra fine bananas. We've been cutting this down, and finally got some green coming out of the top. So that one looks like it's pushing back up. And I'm sure there'll be some small ones coming out shortly. This Algerian ivy coming out of there has recovered and is, I'm sure, will be flowing down the sides in no time. Okay, coming around here. You know, that clerodendron, well, I'm seeing green already. I was about to say, I can't imagine it's gonna give up, because the thing never does, and indeed it's already green and pushing up, so eventually it'll take over this corner again. This is another different variety of liriope. This is super blue, which is, it didn't really do much impressive at first, but isn't putting out these really spectacular long blue flowers that last a long time, so that's nice to have. Okay, over here, yeah, a lot of devastation over here, but the aspidistra fine. In the pots are the giant purple iris, which survived and are coming back. In that middle gray pot is one of those variegated shell gingers, which obviously still has life, but I'm not sure it's worth keeping there. Going all along, and here is some great news. Look at the leaves already pushing up out of the giant bananas over there. We were very, very lucky. We lost one big trunk that just didn't make it, because we cut it off at the top and hoped for it to come back. And when you do that, it's a risk, because the tree, if it doesn't have the strength to push up, it starts to die from the top down. And by the time I got over there to it, having hoped it would push out at the top, it was already dead all the way down. So, but we kept 3 out of 4 of them. So that's good news. And I'm sure there are more coming up in the bottom. I didn't really check. This rapist palm, this bamboo palm, is doing fine. This corner is just sheltered. It's just better sheltered. This, I have to get back there and upright that pedestal. That it's just just a wooden pedestal that I slapped together to hold the pots for the vines going on. But it's fine. And the vines, or at least the Carolina Jessamine, is doing great and still flowering. It's just as happy as could be. Now, this was one of those giant palms, the type that spray up into the air like a fountain. And I don't think that's coming back. This is another giant purple iris that's already pushing up. So we'll see. And there's another one. Now, this is really good news. Check out the datura. The datura that's been growing up. Now, we lost all of the major trunks. You can see the size of them. But it's pushing up so fast and so furiously that I have no doubt within a few months this thing is going to be making a presence in this spot. Again, fan palm, perfectly happy. And again, giant hibiscus that I've been nurturing for years is done. There's not. I mean, we've been waiting, hoping that it was going to push out some leaves, but no, looks like it's gone. That to the right of that banana is actually, now that looks like a banana, and so does that. So that's just more bananas pushing up, which is good because this big one is not successfully pushing up. We're going to cut it down further and see if we can get it to come out. But good news, we've got a giant alocasia in the corner back there. It's a bit shady, but that's starting to come back. And then we've got little bananas popping up. 1, 2, 3 little bananas, and this one, which is a medium size, which is pushing up leaves. So that's not too bad. This is the loquat volunteer that I had moved over here, and it's coming up fine. It's still growing up, so maybe that will end up being a major feature element in some years over in this corner. And that seems to be the report on the courtyard, but it's, I mean, to us, we see all the holes, but honestly, somebody coming in here who's never seen it before will still come in and say, this is a beautiful French Quarter courtyard. You know, with some not too extensive fill-in, it's going to look really quite lush and beautiful again.